Okay, process. And I think this is easier with the keys that you know better. Some of the other tunes that we've done, and we can in the future. It just takes a little bit more time, but we can. When we pick tunes, we can transpose them or whatever to make them in keys that you know better. And the good thing about that is if you learn 25 songs in the key of B flat major, you'll know it. And then all this analysis will really start to sink in. But again, this is our process. So when you sit down to play this tune, first realize it's in B flat major. So let's think about B flat major. Has two flats, B flat and E flat. Oh, and also the trick for remembering what key it's in with the flat keys, you look at the penultimate flat, in this case B flat, because it goes B flat and E flat. So the penultimate is B flat, and that's your key. So we have, here's all of our note names represented, and we have our B is flat and our E is flat. So if you can, this is part of just memorizing the landscape. The more you do, you can play it like this, and then play it up and down. When we're doing this, it's just drilling into our brains what B flat major looks like, so that when you go to play a tune in the key of B flat major, you're gonna make fewer mistakes. If we look at this whole page, there's not one accidental, which means this entire melody comes from the key of B flat major. So if you have this in your brain, then you won't make as many mistakes, because you'll never go, oh, is it D flat? No, you're never gonna say that, because you know that that's not in the key. And as musicians, there's so many. There's books and books and books of exercises to help you do things like that. Oh, your phone on in class, young man. Terrible. But it comes down to the first one is just to play the scale up and down, which again, the flat keys, you're never going to start on your thumb. In this case, just start on your second finger, go immediately to your thumb, and then third finger on E flat, and then immediately to your thumb on F, end on your fourth finger, and then come back down. That's the first way we play it. And most people just stop there, but there's so many exercises, that you can do. You can skip notes and just challenge yourself to stay in the key. I'm just skipping a note in the scale, going back up, skipping up. You don't have to do all that, but I'm just saying there's any mathematical thing that you could think of to do will help you. We have a couple things that we're going to do, but the first one is just that. And think about the notes and the scales and the numbers. So B flat is 1, C is 2, D is 3, etc. It's really important. The more you do that, the quicker you'll get. And remember, the whole analysis thing, the time that it bears fruit is when you are instantaneous with that information. If you're not instantaneous with that information, it doesn't do any good. But we're working up to that. This is long game stuff. So, and then of course you're going to go, what's going to reinforce that is going through the chords and doing our exercise. So 1 is B flat major, and you play the scale, you know how to do that. And then 2 is C minor, 3 is D minor, 4 is E flat major, 5 is F major, 6 is G minor, and 7 is A diminished. And just doing that is going to set you up for what we're about to do. Again, there's only so many times that you're going to play a G minor and go, is that a 4? No. Is that what is that? Oh, it's a 6. Eventually, you're going to go, G minor 6, G minor 6, G minor 6, E flat 4, E flat 4. becomes automatic, and that's when it becomes helpful. So now we're going to do the first phrase. We're going to do analysis. And again, this, I know I'm talking a lot, but this is going to get quick. The more you do this, the quicker it becomes. I want this just to be habit. So we're going to do just the first phrase. This time we almost made the pieces fit, didn't we, girl? So we're going to do the first phrase. It's just 3 chords. We're going to B flat major, 1 chord. G. I'm going to call this a 6 major. That's not, the whole internet, if they cared about me, would yell at me for saying that, but we're just going to do that because it's our 6th chord, but it's major. And then we're going to do C minor, which is our 2 chord. And there it is. That will help you remember, right? And just practice that until, and incidentally, once you've done that analysis, forget it. Also, you're doing B flat root position, G major first inversion, C minor root position. Once you, all I want you to do in your practice is acknowledge that a couple of times, and then forget it. Okay? And again, eventually it will start to make sense. Now we're going to do a melodic analysis. So it's 1, 6, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 6. Again, just do that a couple of times. Say the notes to the numbers to yourself, and then you can go back to the words or whatever is going to make you remember this. So now you've done that. Thank you for me. You did that little analysis. And now put the hands together. And then you got your G major, and then together. Right? So you can look back and forth while you're memorizing it, but I want you to memorize just that one little phrase, right? And then try to do it just by looking at your hands. Oh, so I totally messed up. Almost made the pieces fit. G. You know, play it 4 or 5 times until you start getting worse instead of better, and then move on. And don't worry, it's especially when you first learn a tune, you're not going to be able to play the whole thing. It's going to take a week for a tune like this, at least. Maybe 2, but if you do it this way, it will just start to come. And also, do this process every time you sit down. Don't just sit down and start. Do the process over again every morning whenever you start to learn the tune, because then you will really see how every morning gets a little bit quicker. Sometimes your brain has bad days, but just in general, you're going to get quicker at the analysis and then the actual playing. So just think about how, the phrases work. This time we almost made some sense of it, didn't we, girl? Use the words as a guide. So that's your next part. You start with your F major. Okay, that's your next phrase that you're going to work on. So you're going to do your harmonic analysis. You're going to do your melodic analysis. You're going to make sure you got the right intervals, which again, your left-hand chords are only going to be in here. Again, the useful inversions, there's not that many. And when you get into the harmonic analysis, you realize that this first one is a 1-6-2-5-1, or it's 1-6-2-5-2-5-1, little variation. But either you're going to play it here, 1-6-2-5, or maybe I would play it there because, like 90% of the time, probably because we're in the key of B flat, so you want this nice fundamental here. But just for the sake of argument, you could do it here. There's your B flat major. You could go up to G major here, but then you're still going to go down here because you don't want to bump into your melody note over there. Or again, for the sake of argument, but I wouldn't even do this. It's too low to start down there with my B flat. So I'm either going to do this, which is what you're doing, or this. Maybe in the middle of the tune for variation, I could do that, but I'm still going to do that. So again, you're going to start to see the patterns. If you do your analysis regularly, you're going to start to see the patterns, and it's going to be easier. Even within this tune, just the chords on the second phrase, if you realize that that's, first of all, so F, C minor, F, B flat, so 5, 2, 5, 1, just tuck that away in your memory, but also F major, you know it's going to be second inversion, because that's what we're doing. F major, C minor root position, F major, and then back to your B flat. So instead of thinking about all these random notes, you're just going, oh, F, C minor, F, B flat, and it becomes quicker. All right, have I talked enough?